I thank all of you for being here today. I thank especially Ambassador Irena and dear friend. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to begin by saying that when the ambassador invited me to be a panelist in this discussion today on the topic of supporting women in science and technology, I couldn't help but think of Cyprus Seeds, this organization of which I'm the managing director, and to consider to which extent Cyprus Seeds is supporting women in science and technology. So I wanted to begin by saying that we are a young organization, Cyprus Seeds, which is supporting in many different ways the commercialization of academic research in order to bring startups to the economy of Cyprus, and by so doing to create employment opportunities of young, talented scientific people. And therefore, I will brief you a little bit how we do it, but then I will focus on how we have been supporting women in particular. And in order to give you a practical idea of how we go about it, I have also invited here today one of the projects of Cyprus Seeds, which is 100% women scientists. And with your permission, I would like to, maybe 3 minutes of your time to invite them to the floor and say what they think the challenges are of women scientists, in Cyprus at least. So, with this, I would like to begin, and I would like to say, my eyes are not very good. Okay, I will manage. So I would like to say that we are only 2 years old, Cyprus Seeds, and we began really to support by giving a bit of research grants, but mainly mentoring, guidance, training and networking to the very best scientists from the universities of Cyprus. It's a national program. We are targeting all the people, all the scientists and the academic community of Cyprus. We therefore support research and science in our offer, and we target research teams who have strong intellectual property value and have that potential to commercialize research and take it to the market and have impact to society. So this is our mission, to bring academic research from the lab to commercial products or services and make a difference in the world. And what was the inspiration of Cyprus Seeds? Well, a couple of similar programs, one in the US being led by MIT for the last 20 years with amazing success, and one from Europe, from Switzerland, again a non-profit organization that has been very successful in commercializing academic research in Switzerland. And what we offer, as I mentioned earlier, a bit of research grants between 10,000 and 100,000 for each research team we support over a 12-month funding period. We also offer, in exceptional cases, the opportunity to research teams to continue with us 2 years and to receive beyond research grants training that is aimed at offering business skills to the young scientists. We assign a mentor or maybe more to each of the research teams we select, and these are usually experienced people from the US and Europe who guide each of the participating teams throughout the 12 months in order to progress faster. And then, most importantly, I would say, because we are an island and we feel that need of becoming connected to the outside world, we network the teams participating in the Cyprus Seeds program with either with potential customers or potential investors. And finally, we do an annual event. Every year, we invite the teams who we have supported to present in front of potential investors who come from abroad. So why do I have this slide on now? Because the topic today is about women. And I was thinking, before I tell you about the young scientists, women in the Cyprus Seeds program, that maybe I should go back and think who were the mentors, the advisors to us to design and launch this program in Cyprus. And to my very big surprise, I note two of the three are women. So here it is. It's a Greek person from the diaspora, Irena Lichnerowicz-Augustyn, living in Boston. I don't mention Yannis Monovoukas, but I mentioned Anna Protopapas, also a Cypriot, by the way, a scientist from our homeland, Morpho, who left to go and study in the US. She graduated from the very best Stanford, I believe it's Columbia and MIT, the very best. And then she ventured to be an entrepreneur, and she's now leading her second startup in Boston. We are in our second cycle of our program, and I just wanted to give you briefly some important statistics of the first cycle and the second cycle. We had, in the very first year we launched Cyprus Seeds 2 years ago, 35 applications from the universities of Cyprus, and that is not a small number for a young initiative from a very small country. So I would like to note that. And we accepted 7. And I want you to pay attention to the areas from which we had applications, because you can get a taste of where maybe there's good research happening on the island. First and foremost, it's health. Could you believe that Cyprus leads health, scientific research in health? And then energy, of course, one would expect energy, water, food, technology, science, devices and materials, social and life sciences, and culture and art. And then the second cycle, the one we are running today, which began December of 2020, we had 60 applications, and it was not only from the universities of Cyprus, it was from the centers of excellence as well of the island, and we do have, I believe, Chief Scientist, we have 6 today, centers of excellence in Cyprus? 7, which is a record for a country the size of Cyprus. And then we had applications from research centers, other research centers, and there are the statistics again. Health is first, again, and then similarly energy. But we had applications also from new sectors like agriculture and nanotechnology. So we are not missing in any way with regard to innovative scientific research from any sector of the economy. And some other interesting statistics, the University of Cyprus, where we are today, is leader in the scientific research. Of course, it's the biggest university, dear Rector, isn't it, on the island, and the longest in life. But I think it's a record that we had so many applications from the University of Cyprus, one of the 3 public universities on the island, and the second is the University of Technology in Limassol, the Cyprus Technology University in Limassol, TEBAC, the Cyprus Institute, and some private universities, as well as RISE, formerly RISE, now Science, one of the centers of excellence. And this year, again, we do have the University of Cyprus leading again in the applications, and similarly TEBAC coming second, the Cyprus Institute, which is a private research institute, giving birth to a lot of amazing technology research. But the topic today is about women and how we support women in science and technology. So I looked at the numbers of Cyprus Seeds. Out of the 12 projects we have been supporting, I went back and I looked at the number of applications to see how many from the applications we received had women scientists in them. Well, I think the numbers are impressive because here we are, from the 35 applications in the first cycle, 31 of them had women. And from the 60 applications of this year, 51 had women. So, and then how many do we have in the program? Well, in the 12 projects we are supporting, there are 10 women. One out of the 12 projects is 100% women. Out of the 12 teams have female co-inventors, yes. And 1 out of 12 have female co-founder. So I find this quite interesting for our country, and I find more interesting the sectors in which women scientists from Cyprus are engaged. And number 1 is health. Number 2 is water technology. And you can see devices and materials, art, and the other sectors where at least Cyprus Seeds has received applications. So I then looked at the statistics in the world to see how Cyprus compares with the rest of the world. And at least in Europe, we seem to have higher percentage of women in science and technology than the rest of Europe. Of course, these are statistics of 2019, but still it's a yardstick for us. And let's look at them. 27,600, I'm sorry about the extra zero, people are employed in science and technology in Cyprus. Sorry about the extra zero again. 12,600 are women and 40,900 are men. The percentage, therefore, of women in science and technology professionals, at least in Cyprus, is 45.6 compared to 41% in Europe. And there, at that point, when I was looking at the statistics, myself, I said, wow, that's great. But really, the question to me, at least, was, what about the percentage of Cypriot women who dare become entrepreneurs? And I don't have that number, but I suspect it's quite low. We are not 50 or so percent compared to Europe. So the point I wanted to make is, yes, there's evidence that we have a good number of Cypriot women scientists, but the challenge for Cyprus is to support these women to become entrepreneurs and to become successful stories, not just for Cyprus, but for the world. In my opinion, what areas ought to be addressed in order to achieve this objective? Well, this is my personal opinion, and I would point out those 5 that I thought about. The very first challenge and area we should address is the mindset and the culture. Because if we change that mindset, then there is going to be confidence to dare be entrepreneur. It doesn't mean that only women need that change of mindset, but I think it's especially true with our scientists, women. The second area in Cyprus that I believe ought to be addressed in order to bring out women entrepreneurs is to support the infrastructure in Cyprus in order to create more startups and technology spin-outs from universities. Why? Because that will create opportunities for employment, and that will bring back women scientists who may left the country or remained abroad and are not here to help the growth of the economy. I'm finishing. Sure. Okay. So, and then another area is that was highlighted before, to connect our scientists with the business world, and finally to connect our scientists with potential investors and business angels, so that they raise that necessary funding to remain alive. This is the point I wanted to invite the principal investigator of one of the projects, Maria Antoniou, and her chief researcher, who's a PhD student from the Cyprus University of Technology, to tell us what they think are the main areas to be addressed in order to enable them to progress from the laboratory to the market. So, Maria Antoniou and Eleni, please.
So, thank you, Mrs. Martillo, for giving us this opportunity to just talk about a little bit, very briefly, about the challenges that we have faced these 2 years that we have embarked on the journey with you on Cyprus Seeds. So, also let me thank the ambassador from the Republic of Poland for actually putting together this event. It's really important to have these events, and all of the distinct panelists and the guests here. So, my name is Maria Antoniou. I'm an assistant professor at the Cyprus University of Technology, and I'm also the director of the water treatment laboratory Agua. And here with the lovely green dress is my PhD student, Eleni Kelly, who has been the main investigator of the Cyprus Seeds topic. So what we are working on is innovating technologies that can restore and safeguard water quality. When you think of the water treatment sector, you usually think of men, but actually in my team, we're a 100% female team comprised of scientists and engineers. So, we know that the Cypriot funds are limited when it comes to research, and there is a great competition among the Research Institute of Cyprus to receive these funds. So it was great when we heard about this new program that not only was going to give us funds, but it was also going to help us with mentoring, and was also going to help us with networking. And of course, I'm referring to Cyprus Seeds. So these past 2 years, we have run into different challenges, and we want to sort of go over them very quickly so that this can be the first step into finding solutions for these problems. So in general, we know that national funds in Cyprus are very low, and they're below the EU average, which means that researchers have less opportunities to bring forward their idea, but also to mature their idea. So we are really hoping that this ambitious national target for R&D expenditure to reach 1.5% of the GDP of Cyprus by 2023 will not be greatly affected by the pandemic. Moving on, when someone from the academia tries to get their idea into the market, it's really important to have an ecosystem which is receptive towards this concept. That means that we need to have supportive legislation. It means that there needs to be a mindset from the universities and also the industry to accept this concept. And also, it's really important to have strong technology transfer offices, both in the academic institutes, but also nationally, that can provide the necessary support. So as far as legislation, if we discuss about Cyprus, there is a general framework on how academics can move forward with their ideas and getting them commercialized. The problem is that we still don't have the details on how truly to get this implemented. So this is something that needs to be resolved. One important thing is the patenting process of the outcomes that we have. It took us a very long time to secure internally and externally the funds that we needed to complete our patenting process for one of our products. It took us roughly a year. We're very thankful to everyone that has contributed, but this cannot be the norm. So what should be done is that procedures like this should become routine, and they should be executed in a much shorter timeline. So, and the last thing that I would like to refer, and I want to close this with a positive note, is that it's obviously, Cyprus is a small land, there is great talent, as Maria mentioned, but it's not possible to find all the expertise and all the advanced analytical equipment that you need to perform your research activities. So that means that we rely heavily on networking and our collaborations. Our team holds very strong collaborations with Poland, and we have been doing it very long-termly. We have written EU Horizon proposals together, and also we have published together. And I would like very much to thank those professors that have been supported us, thus from the University of Gdańsk, Professor Hanna Mazur-Marzek, from the Jagiellonian University, Professor Dariusz Dziga, and from Migiewski, sorry for the pronunciation, University, Professor Mikołaj Kokosinski. So thank you so much, and hopefully this will be the stepping stone to move forward. Yes, definitely. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, I've taken longer, yes, Angela? So I finish with this slide, and really I want to thank the Cyprus government, really from the bottom of my heart, because they've been supporting this initiative from the very beginning by providing matching funds to the privately raised funding, because one wonders, where do we find our money? Well, it's all donations from corporate donors, from the diaspora, in the US mainly, from individuals, Greeks and Cypriots, mainly from abroad, and from sponsorships we have been receiving from embassies, and not only. And we have partnered with the very best in commercializing academic research in the US, and that's MIT, but we are open to collaborations and many more partnerships, and especially from Poland. I feel like we have many similarities, and thank you, ladies, for being with us today. Thank you.